Alright, welcome everyone. My name's Gingy Snaps, and I don't know if this is synced up correctly, so we're gonna have fun. We're gonna try a different format, I guess. As you can see, hopefully, I have my premium Nightrose deck profile. Now, yeah, Overdress is coming around. I'm still trying to figure out Zorga. It's fine. Nothing to worry about. Taylor's managed to beat me in every Overdress game that we've played with Barra Magnus. So maybe that's coming up. Stick tuned for that. But for right now, this is Premium Nightrose. Taylor has managed to beat me consistently with Premium Dantarian now that the Overtrigger's involved. But I kind of needed to refigure this because I haven't been smart with it, essentially, so I try to be a lot more smart about it and make it a lot more consistent, make everything make more sense, kind of manage resources effectively, kind of bulk up a little bit against big attacks. So, without any further ado, I'm going to get right on into it if you don't mind. Alright, cool, sick. Alright, starting off with this deck profile, we have the 4 Nightrose. Obviously, with the SP and the RLR, it's absolutely beautiful. Let me zoom in on this. Oh, yeah. Perfect. Nightrose, main Vanguard. Obviously, you can go the route of Solemn and go Beatrice Control. I like Nightrose more. I think Nightrose adds a potential card pool that I haven't yet delved into, which is kind of not what. It's kind of more, aggro. You can combo off a lot harder. But besides that, excellent Vanguard when you combo into Bad Bounty. You can loop. Which is really funny. I'll explain the loop here in a bit, but it's not even so much of a loop. It's about as much of a loop as the NLK loop back when what was it? The Asteroid set came out. Where we all had like 4 enigmatic assassins. That was cute, and obviously requires enough setup, enough soul, etc., etc. But it's funny. I like Nightrose. Nightrose is beautiful. So moving on from there, for not Ghost Ship, for Skull Dragon. Obviously, this is the finisher. Big numbers go burr. Gets out of hand really, really quickly. So yeah. Need I say more? This has been a 4 of in every premium Granblue deck since Champions of the Asia Circuit came out, so whatnot. 1 Beatrice in all of her SP glory. Beatrice is an extender that does not require a counterblast, which makes it so much fun. It requires a soul blast, so that's one of the other things that I've been trying to fix about how I play Premium Nightrose, especially, is managing all of my resources all at once, because usually the counterblast issue was kind of mitigated by Grenache and whatnot. I try to be a conservative player that way, but with Beatrice not requiring a counterblast to call something, it lets it be a lot more extensive in what it wants to do, because it does require that 1 soul blast and not a counterblast, for example. And then 1 Nightstorm. God, I am so glad that half the things that are in this deck, maybe not half the things, but a good majority of these decks, or things in this deck, are being reprinted in the premium collection, so I can't wait for it to be, like, blinged out. But Nightstorm, attack extender, it kills itself, so that's even better. So what the loop is if you have enough soul, obviously, that's kind of what it all comes down to, is you go into your Bad Bounty turn, you ride the Nightrose, you have, not Beatrice, maybe it is Beatrice, maybe like a Skull Dragon, Greed Shade, whatever. So, but whatever it is, the second attack is the Nightstorm, so you have the Nightstorm, or the Nightrose Vanguard, and you go, first attack go burr, and then you go Nightstorm. Now, you don't want to do this when your opponent's at low damage, because a defensive trigger stops this. Obviously, this is kind of self-explanatory. most of the loops before Premium got to where it is right now got shut down by a defensive trigger. And it usually, got to the point where you could break through defensive triggers, but in early iterations of the songstress loop, like enough D-triggers would just kind of shut it down, but like that's besides the point. Usually don't want to do this when your opponent's at like 3. Maybe if they're like at 4 or 5, 5 being the prime target. So you go Bad Bounty, rewrite into Nightrose, you go the first attack, you go the second attack. And maybe it's not Nightstorm, that's the second attack, Maybe it's something else. Maybe you have 2 separate columns. But you go the Nightrose attack, you call back Beatrice and like a booster, and then the Beatrice calls back the Nightstorm, and then you go Beatrice swing for 17. Beatrice dies, obviously, because of Nightrose. You then go Nightstorm attack, end of battle, counterblast 1, call back the Beatrice, resolve the skill of Nightrose, kills Nightstorm, skill of Beatrice, soul blast 1, call back the Nightstorm, 17, dies, 16, counterblast 1, call back, dies, soul blast, call. You all get the point. Easy. There's nothing to worry about. If you ever get to the point where you run out of those resources, then obviously you end on like a Skull Dragon or something. You don't keep going. But yeah, neat little loop. Don't build the deck around it, but like, hey, that's something you can do. That's it for grade 3s, by the way. Just TLDR. Now that I spent like 5 minutes on that. Alright, grade 2s. 4 Column Bard. Opens up the entire deck on grade 2. There's nothing to worry about. Best combo partner. 4 Greed Shade. I want to get this out of the way. I've used Column Bard to dump a Nightrose more times than I care to count. Just simply, Greed Shade, Column Bard being able to dump anything into the drop zone and then not forcing you to call something is really good. Because being able to just translate whatever card you don't want in your hand with Greed Shade to transform it into the Vanguard that you want to ride, obviously, magnifique. Yeah, Greed Shade gets anything, filters your entire hand if you have stuff that you can't call, like this Ghost Ship, easy. You want the Greed Shade or the Skeleton Cannoneer in the drop zone, simple enough. Column Bard is also an attack extender, so that's pretty cool. Ghost Ship, it's a 24k beater by itself. It kills itself and draws you a card. Really good. Skeleton Cannoneer with Negra Lily and Beatrice, it's Denial Griffin, as many people have pointed out. Simple enough, nothing to worry about. But, obviously, as it's stated, you don't always have to go the Cannoneer route. It does require 2 Counterblast on your turn, which is why there are some choices in my deck building that I have made, in especially managing my Counterblast resources. So that's that. Kill something, draws you a card, but, with a Negra Lily play into Beatrice, you can, call the Greed Shade, you can call anything. Like, there's nothing to worry about. Don't worry about it. But that's it for grade 2s, really. Alright, and then on to the grade 1s. This is kind of where questionable choices kind of come in. So, firstly, I run 4 Tommy the Ghost. Why is the SP not on top? I run 4 Tommy the Ghosty Brothers. Now, the reason why I like Tommy the Ghosty Brothers is because we run 10 grade 3s. 4 Nightrose, 4 Skull Dragon, Beatrice, Nightstorm. I'm bound to hit a grade 3 at some point in me using Tommy the Ghosty Brothers. It helps me filter. If I find a Skull Dragon, I'm able to just get it out. Right there. Allows me to not use Big Obadiah on a Skull Dragon when I can use it on something more useful, like Skull Dragons, Ghost Ships. If I want more Greed Shades in the drop zone, by all means, Column Bards, etc., etc., etc. So, I like Tommy the Ghosty Brothers. It's also a 13k booster by itself. Tommy the Ghosty Brothers ain't too bad. Now, have I contemplated using old Tommy, the Stride Fodder Tommy, so that I can just get directly to the Stride, or to the Nightrose aspect, if I have a ghost ship, or not a ghost ship, if I have a skull dragon, and I just call Tommy, filter out the ghost ship, or the skull dragon, sorry about that, and then get the Nightrose directly, yeah. It's also a 7k attacker, doesn't get much bigger than that, but I like Tommy the Ghost Brothers, as is. Secondly, for Dancing Cutlass, it calls itself. That's something I really like. The fact that it calls itself, it countercharges, which is the creme de la crop, or however that frickin' saying goes. And yeah, it's a free body, really useful on bad bounty turns and such, or just setting itself up as a booster. You know, just simple enough. One Ripple Banshee. I like Ripple Banshee because it lets me draw a card. It's a 12k booster, right? It requires a Soul Blast. Samurai Spirit requires a Soul Blast. I don't know if I would take Ripple Banshee out for Samurai Spirit. I don't see a reason why I would yet. That's kind of the key phrase right now. Yet. But right now it's a 12k booster. It lets me draw a card. It lets me bulk up a little bit more. I like it. I can put it back in the drop zone with freaking Negra Lily, so like that's good. One Negra Bone, it can help build a board on a bad bounty turn if you don't have a board. That's kind of what it comes down to. It's a free call. It puts itself back in the deck, which is something that I really like because it's the same thing with Bale the Ghosty while I'm here. Putting stuff back into the deck is really useful, even though it's not triggers. Just being able to make sure that like your Vanguard can attack is just really good. Bale the Ghosty is a new addition. It doesn't have Hollow, which I'm like, okay, whatever. It's a 9k by itself when it's called from the drop zone, which I'm like, okay, cool. It's like calling the Columbard at that point. But when it gets put into the drop zone, during either player's battle phase, mind you, if I have a Nightrose Vanguard, which is why we like having Nightrose as the Vanguard, it just puts itself on the bottom of the deck and then countercharges one. So if you want to kill it off Negra Lily, you just have a free Negra Lily at that point, and then it's only Soul Blast 1, Counterblast 1, kill something, if you're doing a Skeleton Cannoneer play. So basically, if you only have one Counterblast, and you have that Bale the Ghosty, you can still Denial Griffin. Even though the Denial Griffin play requires 2 Counterblast, you just have something that allows you to countercharge on your opponent's battle phase. Freaking lovely. That's it for grade 1s, though. There's nothing really more about that. Grade 0 miscellaneous non 1 to 3s. Grenache. Countercharges you 2. Chappie? Okay, so me and Mario talk about Chappie a lot, where he believes that Chappie is mitigated by Big Obadiah, and respectfully, I have disagreed. Me and him had multiple conversations about this. If you have Chappie early game, he allows you to just mill out things like the Grenache, the Nightstorm, Cannoneer, Beatrice. All these important cards in your deck get filtered off of, or not filtered, that's the wrong word. They get sent automatically by Chappie, thus reducing the risk of them hitting the damage zone, and then you forcing to have been healing them out. I could have worded that better. You guys understand what I'm saying, though. But the fact where you can also get this back off of Greedshade is really good. You know, if you open with it, God loves you. But, you know, like, if you don't, then, like, okay, whatever. That's kind of what it comes down to, where it's like, if you open Chappie, you just accelerated your deck to a point where you can start milling literally anything off of Big Obadiah, as opposed to pieces that you kind of need. Like, for instance, my usual Big Obadiah 5 are Grenache, Beatrice, Cannoneer, Nightstorm, and Grenache, Cannoneer, Beatrice, Nightstorm, and then a miscellaneous, like a ghost ship, right? But with Chappie, I can start picking off those 5 so that I can have something new in my rotation, right? Make sense? Cool. Wonderful. That's why I like Chappie. It just helps me, it helps me get through my deck and get the pieces that I need into the drop zone faster. Perfect. Nothing to worry about. Starter is SP Grenache. I like a quick shield. Triggers. Force Strike crit, because I hear crits are good in premium. Being able to stride is also pretty good in premium. So, that's another thing. And then 2 Sentinel crits, because I like 30k shield and I like having variety and crits. And then this is something that I've kind of been playing around with. It treats me well enough, but the 2 Rough Seas Banshee, I might bump it up to 3, maybe 4. I don't know. I'm still playing around with it. Being able to go into the Soul and draw a card at any stage in the game is pretty good. I mean, obviously, if you don't have enough deck, that's bad. But when you're like going first and you ride the Tommy the Ghosty Brothers and do all your Tommy shit, and then you just call it down, slurp it, draw a card, that seems pretty good. It fuels up Soul for Beatrice, so that's another thing you don't have to worry about. I was playing King Serpent for a while, and then it got to the point where I don't like the fact that King Serpent is a mandatory Soul charge. So being able to have stuff that voluntarily goes to Soul, pretty good, dude. It's pretty good. The archetypal Soul Charge crits didn't really, or I think it's like Wild Seas Banshee or whatnot, they didn't come up as often as I would have liked, and usually I wouldn't call them down to be slurped into the Soul to draw a card, so just having it kind of, if I have an open slot, I might as well call a Rough Seas Banshee move to Soul draw a card. So, simple enough. 2 draw PGs. This is kind of where my deck building skills kind of come into question. My big thing is that I like drawing cards. I like maintaining a hand, especially when playing against Luard. I can't seem to manage to get a grasp on how I keep losing to Luard, and I do know. It's because Stand Trigger Go Burr, but that's not the point. The point is that being able to bulk up, I find to be really good, because at any point, you're not going to lose because you weren't able to guard. You have so many ways of being able to guard between PGs, Sentinel crits, Negro Nora, Negro Lily to reduce the amount of attacks coming your way. It's simple, and it's not going to harm you in the overall scale of things, really. But if you don't keep track of your draw PGs, you're gonna be in for bad times, dude. I don't know what I would take out for it. Probably like, I don't know, maybe I would probably drop 1 down to 1 or to a 3rd Rough Seas Banshee, but then I need to figure out my 3rd Sentinel, which comes at the cost of something from the main deck. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Negrabone for planar or something like that. I don't know. I'll figure it out at some point if it ever comes up to be a problem. 1 Mick, because calling this off Beatrice to kind of make your opponent climb a bigger ladder in terms of power is pretty good. It also goes back to the deck, which is something I like. It's a trigger that goes back to the deck. Magnifique. Overtrigger Go Burr, because why wouldn't I play Overtrigger? And then for heals, it is 2 normal and then 2 resource management heals, because, as I've said, the Denial Griffin play in Granblue is basically Counterblast 2, Soul Blast 1, kill something, which I'm fine with paying that cost, but being able to just kind of get back counter charge, get back soul charge. Resources are necessity, obviously. That's not in dispute. But just being able to kind of get back some of your resources on your opponent's turn so that your next turn you can, I don't know, potentially go for that Megiddo turn seems pretty good to me. So that's it for main deck. G-Zone is whatever. I still don't have a second Negro Lily. So automatically, Dismal, it doesn't come up. This Dismal is useless in my G-Zone every single time. I looked at my G zone. I always wish this could be a second Negro Lily, so that's that automatically. Imagine that Dismal as a second Negro Lily, and you'll understand this G zone further. 2 big Obadiah. It mills 5. It mills 5 and calls 2 for every face up in your G zone. This is your first stride, always has been. I say has been. Me first striding Gauche when I started playing Premium Granblue. That's not the point though. Counterblast 1, flip something, mill 5. Filters your deck more than Chappie does, and I don't disagree with Mario on that. This is a really good first stride. Gets all of your pieces into the drop zone, and then you can just go off from there. 2 bad bounty. I feel like 2 is a good number. I don't feel like you need any more than 2. It's Chrono Dragon X Stage, the stride version. Gets you a gift. That seems pretty good. And yeah, you basically get 2 Vanguard attacks and allows for some funky combos. I run 2 Rosate Nightrose. The reason why is because I found that I kind of go on autopilot whenever I second stride into a big Obadiah. And I mill 5 both times off of Big Obadiah, which causes me to deck out faster, which is not something that I am overly vibing with because I deck out too quickly and I don't manage my resources better. So being able to kind of call something to build a board without needing to mill, especially if your deck gets low, I find it to be perfectly fine. You know, it gets an extra crit. Like, sure, it doesn't get power. I understand that. But if you're also going up against a deck that, like, is very controlling of rear guards, you know, like, Gridor's not a good example, but, like, Chaos, being able to call something and then basically leave your board blank, I don't know, that seems pretty good to me. I don't know. But it's just something to call a board with and not have to worry about the size of your deck, really. Outside of, obviously, what you call. You know, you can call a Greed Shade, and then, you know, that's like 2 cards you need to worry about, but it's not the 5 that I usually have issues with because I'm fucking garbage at this game. This is a flex spot. Literally change this for anything. I just like it because it's shiny, and its text looks like a pirate scroll. It doesn't do anything that I've ever needed to stride it into it for. GB8 because Baby Megiddo go burr. Whale because free stride and pop. And if you have a big enough hand, this can just kind of like blow people out of the water, funny enough, unless they have, you know, like enough PGs, obviously. But free stride go burr, pop Guardians go burr. Seems pretty good to me. And then Megiddo-chan because this is the best finisher. Need I say more? Alright, cool. G-Guards. Negro Lily. This Dismal's supposed to be the second Negro Lily. It's really good. It opens the door for a lot of funny plays. Simple enough. Negro mode, it becomes a 30k shield for Soul Blast if you have 15 more in drop. Pretty good. Doesn't really come up often, but if it does, then I've probably used my other G-Guards like an idiot. Deep Corpse, mill 2, I guess. I mean, if you're going second, right? If you're going second, and this is like your only G-Guard target, because like, why wouldn't it be? Like, 20k shield, mill 2, stride into Obadiah, call 4. That sounds pretty good. And then 2 Negronor, because this is the best G-Guard Granblue will ever get. Mark my words on that, being able to call PGs from drop zone is really good. Lets you get around a whole lot of funky stuff. So if Granblue does get a better G-Guard, then like, sucks to be me, right? Alright, but that is it. That is Granblue deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see Taylor beat me in Overdress, let me know in the comments below. And as always, I'll see you guys in whatever the next video is. Let me know what you guys want it to be. Alright. Bye, guys.